So, my topic is going to be on the Colorado River Basin, and it is about a struggle for sustainability. Obviously, by yours truly, Maddie Sylvia. So, let's begin onto the first slide, which is going to be why I chose this topic in specific. So, I chose to focus on the Colorado River Basin because I have a personal connection to it. I was born in Colorado, which is where the river actually begins. So, it felt pretty meaningful to have the opportunity to study something that connects to where I'm from. I also currently live in Arizona, which depends heavily on the Colorado River for water. Because of that, this topic feels really relevant to my everyday life, even if, we don't always think about it. Another reason I chose this place is because I'm interested in how humans interact with the environment, especially in places where resources are limited. The Colorado River is a really strong example of this because it shows how people have been able to build major cities in a desert, but also how that development can create long term problems. Overall, I wanted to study on this place because it connects to my personal background with real world geographic issues like water scarcity, sustainability, and climate change. So, moving on to the third slide, where is the Colorado River? The Colorado River Basin is located in the southwestern United States and extends into Mexico. It flows through 7 U.S. states and is about 1,450 miles long. One of the most important facts about this river is that it supplies water to around 40 million people, including major cities like Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles. Because this region has a desert climate, the river plays a huge role into making large populations and agriculture possible in places that otherwise would not support them. And then here I just went ahead and uploaded a picture of the river where it runs through. You can see kind of the spotted lines down there. And then moving on to our fourth slide, some critical questions. So for this project, I focused on three critical questions. First, why is the Colorado River so overused even though the water is limited? Second, how have humans reshaped the river over time? And third, is this system sustainable in the future? And we will kind of go over each one of these questions in the next couple of slides. So, the human environment interaction. The human environment interaction refers to how humans depend on and modify the natural environment. In the Colorado River Basin, humans have dramatically changed the river through dams like the Hoover Dam and the Glent Canyon Dam. These dams control water flow and create reservoirs like Lake Mead and Lake Powell. While these systems provide water and electricity, they also disrupt the natural flow of river and ecosystems. For example, natural flooding used to support plant life and animal life, but dams have reduced that process. This shows how human needs have reshaped the natural system. Resource scarcity and sustainability. Resource scarcity basically just refers to limited supply versus high demand. And we'll kind of go into that a little deeper. And then climate change and drought reduce water's level, obviously. Sustainability is threatened by overuse, and I also feel like that is also pretty obvious. So this slide goes into a little more detail about that. So resource scarcity basically means that there is not enough of one resource to meet the demand. In this case, the resource is water, and the demand is up to 40 million people. So the Colorado River is currently facing major water shortages. Long-term drought combined with climate change has reduced water levels in reservoirs like Lake Mead. This connects to sustainability, which asks whether a system can continue over time. Right now, the river is being used faster than it can naturally replenish, which makes it unsustainable in the long term. Basically, there are too many people depending on limited water supply. And then here, it was supposed to be a GIF image, but Doesn't look like it's going to play for us, which is okay. So now let's get into spatial distribution and scale. So spatial distribution, which is how resources are spread out, and scale looks at impacts across different levels. So the Colorado River's water is shared between 7 states and even an entirely separate country, Mexico, but not everyone receives equal access. For example, agriculture uses about 70% of the river's water, while cities also rely on it for millions of residents. This creates tensions between states, farmers, and cities, showing how resource distribution can lead to political and economic conflict at a regional scale. Why here? This brings us to the question of why development has happened here in the first place. The region's natural desert climate would normally limit large populations, but the Colorado River has made settlement possible. Over time, population growth has increased the demand for water. However, early agreements about water distribution actually overestimated how much water the river could provide, which has made today's shortages even worse. So the development of this region is heavily tied to both natural geography and human decisions. And finally, our conclusion. Overall, the Colorado River Basin shows how human activity can reshape natural environments. The river is now being controlled by more human demand and political decisions rather than its natural process. Because of overuse, drought, and climate change, the system is becoming more unsustainable. Moving forward, the future of Colorado River depends on better water management and conservation efforts. And that was my entire